We are currently living through a pivotal point in human history right now. Humanity's being faced with a huge test. And I feel like there's this unspoken thing in the world today, in society, on social media, in the news, online, just in the overall collective consciousness of humanity, that this world is doomed to get worse and worse and worse. And I am here today to say that this does not have to be the case. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know I talk about manifestation. You know I talk about being the creator of our own reality and the power that we have as individuals to change our personal timeline, change our internal state, and therefore change what we see being reflected back to us in our external world. But I think it's time that we start pivoting our focus from just solely focusing on ourselves, from focusing on me, focusing on what I'm manifesting, what I'm attracting, to actually working with our consciousness to elevate the state of humanity and elevate the state of this world. We are that powerful. So let's use that power and change the timeline of this earth. We do not have to be doomed to the belief that this world is going to get worse and worse and worse. We have the power to completely shift the trajectory, and it's going to happen. In this video, I want to emphasize the power that you as an individual soul hold in changing this world. A lot of times we think that change is going to come from the external. It's going to change when somebody else does something better or makes this world a better place. But little old me, what can I do? We need to change that way of thinking. We need to understand that what we do with our consciousness during this time is pivotal because we are fighting a spiritual war and our consciousness is being attacked. It is more important now than ever before in our lifetime that we keep our consciousness controlled and focused on the life that we want to see, on the new earth that we want to create. I want to share with you some hope in today's video and remind you of the power that you hold to change this timeline. Hey Creatrixes, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time that you're seeing my face, then welcome. And if it's not, then welcome back. I believe that we were all created to create the best world possible. And that begins with us first creating the best world possible for ourselves. So that way we have that full cup energy to give to the rest of the world and raise the vibration of the planet, which is ultimately what this video topic here today is all about. Quick announcement I want to make before getting into today's video is if you are not already signed up for my free newsletter, I send out weekly emails where I give valuable nuggets of information on the energy of this week based on an ancient mysticism called Kabbalah. Kabbalah teaches that the stories in the Bible are not meant to be taken as literal history lessons, but rather they're meant to be symbolic and they are deeply coded with wisdom that we can apply to our lives today. It's an esoteric study and it goes very, very deep. So if you'd like more information on what Kabbalah is and how you can utilize this week's energy to your advantage, then sign up for the newsletter. I'll leave that in the description for you down below. Now, back to the topic of today's video and calling in a new earth and a new world, and what does that even look like? I think that that is the question that we should really start with in this video. A lot of people talk about calling in the new earth and elevating humanity to a higher state of consciousness. But what does this actually mean? And what does this actually look like? And without giving you my vision and what I believe this world would look like, I want you to ask that question to yourself. And I think this is one of the most pivotal takeaways that I want to provide for you in this video today. The earth and the energy lately has been heavy. It's been intense, whether you are affected by this conflict going on in the Middle East or not. All of us are feeling the heaviness of it. We're feeling the intensity. We're feeling the energy, not to mention that by the time this video is coming out, we're currently in Scorpio season. We literally just had an eclipse. So there is tons of things going on energetically, astrologically, and then also physically that is being manifested from this energy because of this pivotal time that we are in. And while it's so easy for us to go down negative spirals, to get caught up in the media and the illusions, we don't know what's the truth. And we're living in a world where it's actually hard to discern between what is right and wrong. And we're seeing so much division between the people, and so much of the collective shadow is being surfaced. And we're seeing a lot of negativity. As well as that, we're also seeing a lot of people waking up and calling for change. As horrifying and horrible and tragic as these events are that are taking place in this world, if we take any event that has happened to us in our personal lives that seem to be devastating, horrible, a bad situation, many times, months down the line or years down the line, we look back at that event and we're able to see how that event, as horrible as it was actually leading us to be in a better place in our life, was leading us to make a change. The truth is that us as humanity, we're not going to change unless we are literally forced to. Most of the times, the sad truth is that we're not going to change if we're not slapped in the face with a reality call on the state of this world, on the state of the collective consciousness. Everything that we're seeing in the world right now being manifested is a result of the collective unconsciousness of humanity. Kabbalah talks about how the governments are always a reflection of the consciousness of the people. Whatever the collective consciousness of the people is of that generation, that is how the governments will reflect them. So clearly we got a lot of work to do. And that can feel very overwhelming, especially when we as everyday people feel helpless to what's going on in the world. What can we personally do to raise the collective consciousness of the planet? First and foremost, we need to understand the power that we hold as souls. We need to know how powerful our consciousness is. That if we infiltrate our minds with an idea, then we will actually shift the timeline of this world, because we are shifting the timeline that we are living in. And everything outside of us is a reflection of our internal world. There are infinite potential realities that exist, and they're all happening all at once. We choose the timeline that we enter with our consciousness. Do you know how powerful that is? That literally means that the fate of humanity and this world is in our hands. So back to what I was saying earlier in the video. What does the new earth look like to you? I believe that it's so vital and important to not simply fall into the autopilot belief system that this world is doomed to get shittier and shittier and shittier. We do not need to subscribe to that ideology and that belief system. I want whoever is watching this video, I think this is the most important thing that you take away from today's video. What I'm about to share with you is going to be the most powerful and important takeaway that you can take from this video. And that is that I want you to ask yourself, what does this new earth look like? I want you to visualize it. I want you to get into it. We need to spend more time visualizing a better world than visualizing this world going to shit. Why? Because our minds are powerful. Because our consciousness is powerful. In this new earth, what do our leaders look like? What are our leaders' state of consciousness? How do people on the streets treat each other? How do we treat our loved ones and our family? How are we taking care of this earth and protecting the earth? Protecting all the living beings alive on this earth? How are we looking out for future generations? How are we using technology to advance the world in a positive way? And what is our part in this all? It may seem easy to disregard even entertaining this idea of the new earth. But I want you to think back to when you started getting into manifestation and maybe dabbling your toes in the water a little bit, and how you probably also thought, I'm not even going to entertain the idea that my thoughts create my reality. And here we are. When you've seen the proof enough times, why do we believe it on an individual level, but yet not on a collective level? It comes down to us not believing in our power. But everything starts within ourselves. This is the message that all spiritual teachers for centuries have been teaching. As within, so without. Everything begins in consciousness. So what are you doing with your consciousness? And on a micro level, how are you treating the people closest to you in your life, your family, your close friends? How are you responding to the conflicts and the wars that are going on in your personal life. The real war is happening within ourselves. The real war is happening in our circle with the people around us. This isn't to bypass what we can physically do, because listen, there are people out there, that's their job, to tell you what physical actions that you can take for you to make a difference in this world in the way that you see fit. I do believe that physical action needs to be taken, but the work starts in consciousness. And you're here up till this point of the video. It is your duty, it is your responsibility as a light worker on this earth to bring the light into the darkness, to transform yourself from the inside out. As cheesy as it is, to be the change that you wish to see, and to entertain and to visualize the idea of what this new earth would look like. With constant triggers from social media left and right, it's easy for us to fall into thought patterns that aren't necessarily ours. It's easy for us to feel emotions that may not necessarily be ours. That being said, we need to feel our emotions during this time. We need to truly feel what is coming up for humanity. Cry, feel the pain that humanity is feeling right now, because it's that pain that will move you forward to make a change. What we have control over is what we are exposing ourselves to during this time. What I've done to help me in my own consciousness is I have limited my time on social media apps like Instagram. I can only go on it for 15 minutes a day, and I've been doing better with this. I'm definitely not perfect myself, but this is what I'm working on as well, and I'm bringing you on the journey with me of what I'm also walking myself through and the things that I'm going over within my own consciousness, and what I believe is the light that we can bring, and what I believe is the impact that we can bring to this world. First of all, disconnecting from socials, because then you can really connect with the number one source, the one and only source, God, creator, the light, the universe, whatever term or label that you want to call the higher power. You can only hear the higher power when you're not being distracted by the illusion of the physical world. So if you are in a position to minimize the triggers and tune in with the creator, go within and ask the question on how you can do your part in elevating the state of the world. I think that all of us at this point in time, our missions have expanded. It's gone beyond the surface level. It's waken us all up. And I believe massive positive change will come from all of this if we choose that reality. And I know that's the reality that I'm choosing. And I hope that you'll be choosing that reality as well. So I want to leave you guys off with this message, and that is that this is the time for us to truly love for no reason. We've heard about mindless hatred for no reason, but what about unconditional love for no reason? And not just with the people that we agree with, but the people that we disagree with. Can we still hold love in our hearts, in our souls, for one another? Because it's easy to love people that are nice to us, are kind to us, that we agree with perfectly, but for those we have no tolerance for, it's a lot harder. But that is what true unconditional love is. And the truth is that we are all one. Separation is an illusion. Black and white thinking is an illusion. I'm right, you're wrong. It's all an illusion. We've all come into this life with different perspectives, and it's meant to be that way. We're meant to embrace our differences. We're not meant to all think the same. So I'm going to leave you guys off with that message. Remember that you have control over your number one most valuable resource, which is your consciousness and your focus. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next one.